Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this session of the Silk Sesh podcast. Make sure to come out this Monday, August 12th, to the Silks Poker Room for the 10K guaranteed. You can also follow us on IG, Twitter, Facebook, all social media there for live updates, interviews, and chip counts as we kick off this 10K August 12th tournament. It's going to be a blast. Make sure to tune in. What's up, YouTube? It's that time of the week again. It's your boy Jordan here with the Silk Sesh podcast, joined by always my good friend and pal Dan Lee. What up?
What's up?
This is kind of interesting because we just did a recording, about 30 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, so funny story about that. We had a guest on. We literally did a 45-minute interview with them, and I don't know what happened. The file didn't save. Well, it did save. It saved about 4 minutes of it. Here's what ended up happening, I think. So during the interview, I got, a couple random phone calls from somebody. Not going to name any names, but, I ignored them or I let them ring. And I was under the assumption that this would just keep recording. So the first time that person called me, I just hung up on them. And then I looked at my phone, and it still showed that the timer was still going, right? Like,
yeah,
you saw
it looked like it was fine.
So I didn't even worry about it. And then they called again, same thing, and then they call one more time, whatever. So we're interviewing this person. We literally had them interviewed for like 45 minutes. We're done. We go back inside because we filmed outside because it was more quieter. We go back inside, and I look at my phone, and it says, new recording, 4 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's about how long we got before that first call came in and fucked everything up.
Yeah, so I try to look back in my files to see if I can find it or to see it somehow messed up, but no, we just recorded 45 minutes for 4 minutes. So I apologize to this guest and our viewers, but we're going to have to
And this guest was a good one, so we're
Yeah.
obviously going to try to have them on again. It's somebody that we had tried to have on a few times, and they're very difficult to get. So, the fact that we got them today and then we didn't get them, that's no good. But it's kind of funny when you're thinking about it, but it sucks.
I mean, hopefully this person has has a sense of humor and is willing to do this again because I don't know. It was just weird how it ended up because I thought that when these calls came into me and I ignored them and just kept recording, I thought it was fine, but obviously not.
Yeah, obviously not, but it's all right. We'll figure those kinks out, and maybe we'll get another shot at that interview. It was good, The person we interviewed is somebody that I think people will want to hear from. So we're definitely going to try to do that one again, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, hopefully they don't hate us for having to do this all over again.
Yeah, I feel like we wasted literally 45 minutes of their time, and it's unfortunate, but maybe they'll be a good sport about it. That's the plan. So
that was just a really wow. This has been a really weird day. I had 2 drinks today.
Yeah, Daniel's wasted.
I'm not wasted. Well, I was earlier. I mean, I was triple straddling. I was, calling all ins with 1 pairs. It was just a good day to hang out. I got to hang out with some of my boys I haven't seen in a while. Jordan's friend Cola, cool guy, nice guy. My friend Andrew, who I haven't seen in a while. So, just kind of a night to hang out with the boys and just chill and relax. Obviously, when I'm playing the $48 quadruple straddle and I'm not taking poker seriously, it's just kind of a night to fuck around. But so it was just a chill night, and I had a couple drinks, You got to enjoy your life sometimes.
Your table looked good. I wish I could have been a part of it, Obviously, I felt the same way about that. I felt like it was going to be a good night. And your table looked good. Cola was there, Andrew was there, Sherman was there. A lot of the guys we like playing with, a lot of our good friends were all at the table having a good time. I unfortunately was not there.
It was actually pretty boring at first. It was really whatever, we're all just chilling. And then just out of nowhere, the action kind of picked up. And it picked up really late in the night when Lippy came in and just shit off a bunch of chips, gave some action. So, and provided some entertainment as he always does.
Lippy's always good for action.
Oh, for sure.
Anytime you see Brian Lipp roll up to your game, make sure to save a seat.
For real.
He is the man.
So you didn't play tonight, but you played last night.
I did play last
Thursday. How'd you do? I was at your table. I saw you getting a few big hands.
Last night the table was good. It was just a 1-3 game, but I think a lot of the guys at the table wanted to make it a 1-3-6. There were a couple guys who were objecting to that, which is fine. You know, if you don't feel comfortable raising the stakes, I don't think you should feel obligated to have to. So, you know, essentially what the Silks allows is they allow you to straddle from any position that's not a blind. So, I mean, if you want to put on the 6 every hand, you can. And that's basically what was happening. There was a couple of guys who were literally straddling every hand. So it was essentially a 1-3-6. And, I got in a couple of big hands. One of the hands we posted on our social media was one of my bigger hands of the night. It was kind of a weird night. I mean, I was up a little bit. I pulled a bluff off on Matt in a weird hand. It was actually Matt and like a few other people that actually helped me chip up a little bit before this big hand, where Matt was the straddle for $6. There's like 4 callers, and I have Jack 10 of diamonds, and Matt was the double straddle actually. I forgot about that. Matt double straddle for $12. There's a few callers, and then I had Jack 10 of diamonds. I called. Matt then made it like $90, and he got one call, and then Phil right in front of me called, so I obviously called, and now we're 4-handed 90 apiece to this board. That came out, it was weird. This board was not good for my hand. I have Jack 10 of diamonds. It came out ace 9 4, like 2 spades.
Oh, okay.
there was no diamond to be found. I don't even have backdoor diamonds, so I'm like, I pretty much given up on this hand. It checked to Phil. Phil checked. I checked. Matt checked. So I thought it was pretty clear that Matt had a hand like 10s or 9s or 10s, something like that. In which case, like, okay, like this will be interesting. Maybe obviously not 9s, but a hand like 10s, maybe jacks, possibly queens. But I know Matt would continue on this board with most aces: ace queen, ace king, ace jack. If he wanted to, get a little crazy. So I feel like most aces he's continuing. He checked. The turn card was actually the best card I could have seen besides making a pair, possibly. The turn card was a 8. So now I'm open-ended. I'm like, okay. It goes check. Phil checks. And I just bet out 180 and left myself like 200 behind. Matt, I was pretty sure once I could get by Matt, everybody else was going to fold. Matt thought about it for a second and just mucked. And then as soon as he mucked, the other guy mucked and Phil insta-mucked. So that was a nice little pot to kind of get me a little bit chipped up to this next hand that happened. I played pretty tight after that. And then I got ace-king in the small blind. I made it. There was a $6 straddle. I made it 30. Folds around. I think I got maybe one caller, and then it got to Chad, who decides to make it 60. I hate this raise by him, but it's interesting. And Chad, first of all, just so you know, this guy Chad has he started this hand with about 2,000 in front of him, so he's very, very deep. And I've played with Chad a bunch. He likes to mess around. He's not. He doesn't play snug, so he's in there with a lot of hands. But I'm out of position in this spot, and there's a few other. There was Chad made it 60. This other guy who I haven't really played with much called the 60. Baseball player. What's his name? His name was like Ryan.
Ryan Tapera. Shout out to my boy Ryan from the Toronto Blue Jays. Thanks for taking all our money the other night.
Yeah, he's good action. He was fun. So Ryan decided to call the 60. I thought about putting another raise in here, but I'm out of position here, and I know Chad's never folding. He's extremely deep, and there's going to be some flops that I'm not going to feel great continuing with my stack. So I decided to just call, and then I think somebody else called behind me too.
See, that's what I don't really understand. I'm not saying I hate your play or disagree with it, but you're out of position 1, so that I feel like is like a reason for you to put in another raise. Because if you just call and you miss a flop, you give away $60. But if you re-raise and get ahead, first of all, if you re-raise, 0% Chad is folding.
Yeah, he's never folding.
And I don't know how you feel about his essential min raise that he did for you. What are you putting him on when he puts in the min raise?
When he put in that min raise, I really thought he had just some kind of middle pair, like 8s, 9s, 10s, something like that. In which case, I know when I put in another raise, he's never folding. And as you can see in the way this hand played out, he was never folding at any point.
Yeah, correct.
So
I understand it, but I feel like out of
with
position,
a real hand, like if I have a hand that's Ace King obviously plays really well, and you can play that very aggressively in some spots against some players. I pick and choose who I play that hand very aggressively against. Against a lot of players, yeah, I'm gonna put in the 4-bet. But in that situation with Chad as deep as he is, and the fact that I know he's never folding, I don't feel the need to risk even more chips in a hand where it's like I have to get there in order to get paid off. Because, I mean, realistically, you saw how this hand played out. If I do put in the 4-bet, Chad's calling, and the flop comes. If I miss, I'm probably going to c-bet this hand. It's going to cost me about half my stack probably with pre-flop action and my flop action. I don't want to really do that necessarily when I don't really need to with Chad. Or my thing is I feel like in most tables, I'll outplay people post-flop, and that's just true. I'll outplay people post-flop a lot of times. I don't like inflating pots pre with hands that aren't made. And, in that situation, out of position, I think, given that Chad is, I'm going to opt. And I don't think it's always correct. I mean, I do think I should be putting the 4-bet sometimes there as well. But I think I'm going to opt in that spot to more likely call than putting another raise. Not all the time. I would say maybe like 60% of the time or so like that, just because of the situation. Now, had it been, let's say it was Sherman that put in the raise, which I don't think Sherman's ever putting in basically the min raise to me. But let's say Sherman did put in a weird raise like that. I'm more likely to put in a big 4-bet with Sherman because I think, there's a chance he actually may fold a hand like 8s, 9s, or 10s pre. And then also, if Sherman were to call, I know there's a lot of flops that even if I miss, I can maybe continue and Sherman will go away. Where I felt like Chad was never going to fold pre or on the flop. If he was going to fold, it was going to be on the turn or river. So I really didn't want to have to basically subject my whole stack to that. So essentially I called. I think we took this flop 4 ways. The flop came, what is it, King
10-6, I think it was.
King 10-6, 2 clubs.
First
I checked. Chad let out for 50, which I felt was pretty weak. And then Ryan called 50 as well. The weird thing was I felt like when I put in this raise, Chad was never folding, which is fine. That's what I wanted. But I didn't expect Ryan to call either. So it was a bet of 50. Ryan called 50, and I made it 200. Chad didn't even take any time to think about it, just called. And then Ryan called, which was kind of weird. So I thought Ryan might have like some kind of drawing hand here where maybe he's got clubs, maybe he has a gutter, or maybe he's open ended. It was a weird spot because I didn't expect Ryan to call. So when he called, I was praying for the turn to be a complete blank so I could just put it in,
which it was,
and it was the deuce of diamonds, like the best card in the deck. So the pot's like over $700 now. I have like $340 behind or something. I don't even know if I have that. And I just put it in, and Chad calls pretty quickly.
I don't think he even thought about it. He literally asked for a count. I was like, all right, I call.
And then, which I was fine with because I was pretty sure I was ahead of Chad. What I didn't want to see is Ryan overcall.
Well, I don't think Ryan's ever calling if Chad's calling, especially with a brick turn like a deuce. So I don't think you should have been worried about any hand, honestly, to tell you the truth.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I was pretty confident my hand was extremely good on the turn, like with both players. I just didn't want to have to fade. Like, I thought Chad's hand was some kind of middle pair or some hand like that, and I think he just thought I was full of shit. Which was pretty clear that he did.
Yeah, you're putting in $400 with shit.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I've seen you do it before.
but
against someone like Chad, who had a ton of chips and isn't a big folder, I don't think you're gonna be going too crazy against that player type.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm ever going nuts like that with versus Chad in that spot.
Especially with someone like Ryan behind, who, as we saw yesterday, gives zero shit about money.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of worried about Ryan's call because I'm like, if Ryan has like Queen Jack here, if Ryan has Ace Jack here, if he has clubs, I mean, he's not getting the worst price after fucking Chad calls to like try to peel and get lucky. It's kind of why I didn't want to see it because I was like, I don't want to have to fade the world here. If Chad calls, which he did, I felt fine. So Chad called, Ryan ended up folding. And I asked Chad, you want to go once or twice? I always like to go twice, whether I'm way ahead or whether I'm behind. It's just to cut down on variance. I always want to go twice. But Chad seemed to be stuck on me being on clubs. So he's like, nah, I think you got clubs just once. I'm like, okay, I don't have clubs. The river card came was a 9 of spades, I think. I turned my hand over, and Chad just looks at it and mucks. So yeah, that was a pretty big pot. It was almost a $1,500 pot. I think it was about $1,500 pot with one pair. And I remember I turned my hand over, and you seemed a little surprised about my hand.
Well, Sherman and I both seemed surprised because I thought the worst hand he had there was maybe King 10 suited or something like that. But the exact hand I put you on was pocket 10s. But against a player type like Chad, I guess a hand as strong as top pair good kicker, in this case top pair top kicker, is going to be fairly strong. I was surprised to see that that's what you had, only because of the pre-flop action. I think when Chad min raises you pre-flop, I thought you would have seen that his hand is mediocre, and you may have tried to just take the pot down pre-flop. But like you said, you think you can outplay people post-flop. You thought you could do it with Chad, which you did. You got him to call off, probably drawing 2 outs, so it worked out in your favor. I was just surprised your hand was not as strong as I thought it was.
Yeah, obviously, to win a $1,500 pot with one pair is pretty difficult to do. So, I think it's all situational. Knowing who I was playing against, their stack size, kind of how they play. Yeah, I think I play that hand very differently against a lot of other players. But, I don't know, in that spot, that's just how I decided to play it. And it worked out for me. I could have easily, put in a 4-bet. And then, I basically get the double up either way, but maybe I don't get Ryan's extra money in there. So, I don't know.
Ryan gave you an extra, $200
$260?
Yeah, so that worked out well in your favor.
Yeah, so, it was... I think that's one of those hands that, if you gave it to me 5 times against 5 different players and in different situations with stack sizes, I'm going to find a bunch of different ways to probably play that hand. But that was just, to me, the most optimal way for me to play it against those 2 players specifically. And it just worked out. So it was good. I didn't really play very much after that. I don't play too late during the week because I got to get up early in the morning. So, yeah, I played pretty snug after that. May have won 1 or 2 more pots, and then I went home. How'd your night go yesterday?
You know what's funny is that you're talking about winning a $1,500 pot with one pair. I did that the other day. And it was kind of stupid because it was set up by a hand that I'd lost. So this hand, there was a straddle, and one of my favorite players to play with, Pops, made it 16 to go. Lippy called. I called with 2 deuces, and it ends up being a 6-way pot, I remember. And the flop comes out Queen 3 deuce with 2 diamonds, and I was stoked about this flop, obviously. I flop a set, and I have this crazy table with everyone just calling everything, so I'm pretty certain I'm getting a double up here. Pops makes a huge bet. He bets 100, and Lippy folds. I'm not too worried about the flush draw or anybody behind me, obviously. 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to have the best hand here. So I just decided to call, leaving myself 230 or 240 left, which should look super strong to anybody behind me. I should never have a draw here. My hand is always going to be pretty much exactly what it is, or,
That's exactly what I thought your hand was.
Yeah, or maybe kings or something, slow play, something like that. Maybe ace queen, but I think this is the exact hand I'm almost going to have, maybe 3s. So I call. Everybody else folds. So me and Pops go to the turn. The turn is an ace, and he shoves in 200. And at this point, I'm thinking he has ace queen, which would obviously be great. I've seen Pops kind of go crazy in spots like this too, where he might do the same thing with just pocket kings or something, or maybe king queen. Either way, I'm never getting away from my hand, so I shove in 230, 240, whatever it was, and he snap called. River was an offsuit 9, and he shows aces. So he hit the old 2-outer on the turn, and it was just kind of really frustrating and annoying because at a table this crazy, to make a hand is one thing, and then to get paid off in it, is another thing. And I thought for sure I was getting that double up. Obviously just unlucky on my end.
Yeah.
So I rebought for 500. At this point I'm in the game for 1250, which is a very strange number, I know, but I was in the game for 1250. And then this was literally maybe 3 hands later, I was in the small blind, and Lippy straddled. I looked at 2 kings, and I decided to just limp This table is pretty aggressive. You were there. You saw all the action that was happening.
Yeah, I saw you limp too.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
So, wow. So you were paying attention to both these hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the thing. When you lose a big pot, I start to pay attention a lot more to like how you're going to play or react to that. And I knew at this table, because there was a lot of action, I knew if you're limping first to act, you have a huge hand.
Yeah.
You know this pot's getting raised. And so, I'm pretty sure I looked down at a decent hand and I just folded. I knew where this was going to go. So, you had 2 kings. That was good.
I had 2 kings, and I limped. And folded around to Nico, who makes it, he made it 35, and Lippy calls. So he gets back to me. And here's one thing that you and I disagree on, is sizing. So you're more of a fan of sizing a little bit less. I'm more of a fan of sizing up. Mainly because of, number one, the players. I mean, we literally just saw Lippy put in 500 with the 5-4 offsuit.
That's true, we can see that.
End up chopping the pot against aces and another mystery hand. And also, Nico's also a wild card. These two just, these are the 2 perfect players to have this hand against.
Yeah,
so,
ideal scenario.
So I made a pretty large re-raise. I made it 155, which you think is rather large. But,
I thought that was large, but it worked.
But like you said, you got to know your opponents, you got to know your players, so... and I'm pretty sure when Nico made it 35, like, you could tell sometimes by his size and the strength of his hand.
Yeah.
So I expect him to have a pretty decent hand here. And I made 155. He calls and Lippy calls. So we're 3 ways to the flop, and there's already $450 in the middle. The flop comes out 4, 6, 7, all spades. I have the king of clubs and a red king. So not the greatest flop for me. But
yeah, you flashed your hand, and I saw it. And I'm like, this is going to be real interesting.
So I don't really think I have a choice right now, to be honest. Like, I am like 99% sure Nico has a pair. Who the fuck knows what Lippy has? That's what I'm really worried about. But I don't think there's any flop, barring maybe an ace-high flop, that I was going to just not, go all in with. So I just decided to stick to the plan. I go all in. Nico goes in the tank for a long time. It's like the longest I've ever seen him think of my entire life, actually. And he ends up making the call. I had $340, I think.
It wasn't that long, too, though. But he doesn't take a long time.
Yeah, like usually his decision making is pretty
quick.
pretty quick. So,
but yeah, this was at least like 10 seconds.
So when he thought about it, I was convinced that number one, he had a pair, and number two, he had a spade. And if that's the case, then I'm like 50-50, not really loving it, but pretty sure I have the best hand. Lippy called as well. He had just about the same as me, and at this point, the pot's about $1,500. Just like your pot was $1,500, and I had 1 pair, just like you had 1 pair. So we agree to run it twice. Nico's the only one who flips his hand over. He has 2 black jacks. So he has pretty much what I thought he has, overpair with a spade. We run it twice. The first board breaks out for him. The second board breaks out for him. I was really just worried about Lippy because that kind of board is all around his range.
Yeah, he kept saying he needed a 5.
Yeah, so who knows what his hand was like. So I show my hand after it all gets a showdown, and I scoop a huge $1,500 pot with 1 pair, which just goes to show you how strong 1 pair can be, especially a big pair in Hold'em. So I lost a huge pot that pops, but I won that big pot against these 2. So at this point, I have about $1,500 in front of me. I was in for $1,250. Now I'm up $250. I played for a little bit longer. I think I cashed out like plus $500. I think I cashed out like $1,700, $1,800 or something. But yeah, this table is action. You get the right people at it. You play your hand, the way it's supposed to be played, and you won a $1,500 pot with 1 pair, as we both did those nights. So
yeah, no, it was good. It was good times. I won a pretty big pot the night before, but I don't think I'm going to even get into it because there was a lot of thoughts going into it. Nico happened to be a key player in this hand, and it's funny because I'm not a result-oriented guy. I mean, I think if you can play hands really well and you're just going to lose, you can play hands really bad and you're going to win. I don't think I did either in this case. I don't think I played my hand really bad, but I don't think I could have played it a lot better, but
well, yeah, nobody's perfect.
It was just a weird hand. I think we spent too much time talking about hands so far, so I'm not going to get into it here. Maybe I'll talk about it on another one. But yeah, all in all, a good week for me. I would have liked to play poker tonight, but that wasn't in the cards for me apparently. So, what can you do?
We'll get into that another time. But What I do want to bring to the audience here is that so now the Silk Sesh podcast is teaming up with the Silk's Poker Room to help promote and market the room as a whole. Now it's the slow season. Racing season is over for another couple months, and the poker room's just been kind of slow. The action has been kind of dead. But tonight it actually seemed a little bit more busy.
Yeah, no,
if you didn't notice. And I'm hoping and I'm thinking it's because of what we have tried to do with all the social media platforms. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like this past week, Jordan and I have just been, trying to unload all these, videos and pics onto all these social media platforms. And it seems to be working. You're getting a ton of followers on Facebook and Twitter. People are adding us on the IG, looking at our stories. So I think I'm hoping that this can kind of, get big and just make the Silks a more popular room like I remember it to be.
Yeah, when the limits changed back in 2010, obviously even before then, but the Silks was a good place to play poker. A lot of people the room was always packed. Tournaments were a big thing, especially before the changing of limits. A lot of people liked the tournaments because you felt like you could play deeper in them. So yeah, we're happy to be on board and working with the Silks and trying to help bring more players out. We love the room, obviously, so we want more people to come out, have a little fun, drink some drinks, have some food, and gamble a little bit, maybe win some money. So all in all good things happening there in the Silks. Big announcement was made this week. We will be, at least in some facet, covering the 10K August 12th, this Monday. There's a $150 buy-in, 10K guarantee. We will be providing live updates. We'll get some interviews with players on breaks. Danley and I will do a live podcast from the Silks towards the end of the tournament, kind of recapping everything. So stay tuned for all that information, and these videos will be posted all throughout our social platforms. On Monday and even out throughout the week, you'll probably see more stuff coming. So this is something that we're just going to try out, see how this goes for this Monday. But we'd like to continue to be part of some of the bigger tournaments at Silks. I can tell you there will be, maybe coming in September, if this all goes well, there will be opportunities where we may give a seat or two away to any one of our followers on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So if you like to play poker, tournament poker, and you want to, have a shot at getting a free entry into one of the Silks 10K tournaments coming up, make sure to follow, make sure to like, share, subscribe, all that. It's all helpful.
Yeah, and here's the thing about all this is like we started this out as like a small little lighthearted, fun kind of podcast to just kind of talk about the stuff that we see in the Silks, the employees, the players, just the action, just the stuff that we see. And I don't think either of us ever thought it would turn out to be something that could potentially be big. I didn't even really know what a podcast was until you kind of went over it with me, because you listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, I love it.
I clearly don't. So I thought, this is, when you came to me with that, I'm like, this is a good idea. The Silks needs people to talk about the room in a fashion to where it's going to draw more attention. And I think what we're doing, trying to help this room get better in a way to, get more people, get a better, a customer base. I'm hoping, because I love the Silks, you love the Silks. It's just like you said, it's been so quiet there the past few months. It needs more business. In the area that it's in, the people that we have, I'm hoping, and I think that this will definitely improve in some way. Even if we just reach out to a couple people, that'll be great.
Yeah, and one thing about being a part of following us on social media is anybody that's plays at the Silks, or maybe you played at the Silks for a few years and for whatever reason you're playing somewhere else now, but there's reasons why, shoot us a message on one of our social medias, make a comment in a video, say something to let us know so we can see if we can help make changes to improve the room and get some of these players that used to play in there back. That's obviously something we want to do and focus on. So yeah, when I brought the idea to Daniel, it was really just going to be kind of a fun little platform to kind of talk about things that happen at the Silks, because honestly, if you play at the Silks enough, there are some characters in that place. So, just talking about what a fun place to play poker and some of the characters in there. I think sharing that with a lot of people who maybe don't come in all that often is fun. So, yeah, we're players. We want to try to make the room better for other players so that everyone can just enjoy it and have a good time. So, yeah, I think
so. And here's the thing about the Silks is like, so Jordan and I have been going there for a long time. We play the same people every day. It's just like a really big home game, which, like, if you ask me, I like being, I want to feel comfortable when I go play poker. So if that means, playing with the same people all the time, it just makes you feel at home, which is what I like because, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like going to places where I'm just kind of like the new guy, where I'm quiet, where everyone else is having a good time, whereas you're just sitting there kind of alone. And the Silks isn't like that. And I feel like with more people that come in, even if they're newer people, the regulars like us, Phil, Dustin, guys like that, will easily make you feel at home. We might give you shit for a while, pick on you, rag on you, but that's just pretty much our way of saying that, we like you and, we accept you, that you fit in. And like I said, the Silks is just the perfect room to do that, and I think they just need like a little nudge in the right direction, and hopefully we can provide that.
No, I agree. Couldn't have said it better myself, I'll tell you what, though. I was thinking that if we could get maybe Rob Della Camera on here one time, that would be very helpful. I know a lot of people like Rob. Roberto, if you're listening, you need to come and get on a podcast with us. We need to talk to you, sir. We got some things to discuss.
It would be nice to get a managerial point of view, like a whole perception of everything that goes on, because he sees everything. We don't get to see a lot of stuff. Rob sees it all.
Rob does see it all, and according to Rob, he's the man as well. He does it all. So not only does he see it all, he does it all. So that's the kind of wisdom we need to have on this podcast. I will say, people are big fans of Phil. I've noticed that since he was on this podcast, a lot of people have asked me questions about Phil, and Phil's just one of the ultimate characters at the Silks. So I do think Phil coming on, we appreciate having him on. He's the man. Phil's welcome to come on anytime he wants. But Phil's probably one of the most fun players to play with at the Silks.
Yeah, like, you may hate him at first. Well, you may hate him, period. But he's nothing short of entertaining, and he's good action. He's entertaining. He'll talk shit, but you can talk shit back to him. He's just one of the better players to have at the table. One of my all-time favorites for sure.
Definitely lightens the mood at the Silks for sure. So Dan Lee, it's football time, kid.
Packers to the Super Bowl.
It's football time.
Packers winning it all. That's all I gotta say.
I feel bad. I feel bad hearing this, but
it can't be any worse than the Bucks.
Hey, Bucks are the shit. Now, Bucks may go 8-8. That'd be a good season for them, I think.
Oh, you don't see any playoff hopes in their future with the new coach, Bruce Arians?
8-8 is a solid improvement.
I guess you're right. Did you guys draft the quarterback? Isn't that kind of what you needed in this year's draft?
You're always talking shit about Jameis, but you know what?
I mean, he's in his sixth year and he still hasn't done anything.
Hey, when Aaron Rodgers hurt after week 2, you'll be begging for Jameis.
Hey, he's already got a Super Bowl ring. That's fine.
Yeah, fucking 1995.
And I'm not even being biased. I would be shocked if the Packers weren't one of the top teams in the NFC this year. Obviously, you still have the teams like the Rams. You have teams like the Saints. Who else? The NFC North is very tough with the Bears and the Vikings. But I think if everyone stays healthy, they have a legitimate shot. The Packers have a running game now with Aaron Jones. They have Devontae Adams, who, again, not biased, but one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the entire league. And they have still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Aaron Rodgers. Even though, if he can stay healthy, that's going to be a really hard team to beat, I think.
Yeah, not biased at all.
I'm just saying.
Not biased at all.
I mean, they got rid of the biggest problem, which was their coach. Defense has beefed up a lot. Well, this is going to be very interesting. I'm pumped. I'm very excited for the upcoming NFL season.
This is that kind of enthusiasm that you're going to have before, all hell just breaks loose. Well, I'm telling you, once week 2 hits and Aaron Rodgers is out for fucking 6-7 weeks, we'll see how that goes.
Well, I'm just saying, he got knocked out the first week, and he came back to beat the Bears defense, which was supposed to be the best defense in the entire NFL, late in the fourth quarter. So if there's anybody that can do it, it's definitely him.
Are you in Jen McNabb's survivor pool?
She asked me about it. She's supposed to send me an email, but I never got it, or I never checked it, one of the two. But are you in it?
I'm not in it. I saw Dustin's in it. He's they were talking about it today at the table, and Dustin's in it. And then Jen said, "Yo, I sent an invite to anybody on Facebook or whatever." So I don't know. I've done a bunch of Survivor pools in the past, but I don't know. I think I'm really scaling back a lot of like the gambling I'm gonna do. I'll do fantasy. What's that, bro? Why are we doing fantasy football draft at
Just
Buffalo
go to
Wild Wings?
Buffalo Wild Wings. Try something new for a change.
Bro, I don't.
Look at my house here. There's not much room. Well, actually, there is, but I just feel like going to Buffalo Wild Wings. Just a different vibe. Be cool. Like, why are you so against it?
Cause man, I like the privacy of like a house, man. I like to be able to just say inappropriate shit and not have to worry about.
We go to the
kids next
Silks
to
where
me.
it's public and you say inappropriate shit all the time.
Yeah, but I know everyone at the Silks.
Okay.
I'm not gonna know like little Johnny who just got his fucking.
Who's little Johnny?
Like some random kid at my next table over here who just wants to fucking.
Okay, first of all, we're just gonna be sitting with our group of people, the group of guys that you know.
Yeah.
Dustin.
But little Johnny's gonna be able to see me, and little Johnny's gonna be like, "Yo,
Dustin,
why is this
Vaughn,
kid cursing?" Okay, first of all,
me.
let me. But Vaughn is never going. Let me just.
He replied yes.
Yeah, Vaughn's never going.
So are you saying I need to find a filler for him?
I mean, he might call you and do the draft over the phone like he did last year.
He did that last year.
Yeah, he might do that, but he is never showing up at Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'm not gonna lie, he's been a little bit more reliable. Like, that's not really saying much. He's been a little bit more reliable than I remember him being. Maybe he's trying to, like, be like a changed man, look at life differently, all this bullshit. But I think you want to make a bet he'll show up?
I don't want to make a bet he'll show up because I feel like if Vaughn is aware of this bet, he's going to just to spite me, he's going to show up. So,
yeah, but I don't think he is. I mean, he's not. He's a supporter of our podcast, but, like, he's not. Does that make sense? Like, he likes this idea, but he doesn't.
No.
Okay, well, what I'm trying to say is, like, I think he likes what we're trying to do. He obviously thinks we need better equipment, which I agree. If he's listening to this, you're our sponsor, so, I mean, help us out here.
That's true. For all your needs, make sure to check out happyhomes.com. Your boy, Von Morgan, makes it happen.
So let's just assume that he doesn't listen to this. We should just make a bet, and if he shows up, he shows up. If not, he doesn't.
Nah, because I feel like it's going to get to him, and then he's going to be like, he'll literally like be in like his pajamas or something. He'll be like, "What? Jordan bet that I wouldn't show up? Okay," and then he'll just show up.
So you think he would go out of his way just to prove you wrong?
Just to spite me? Yeah. Vaughn's that guy. He'll do that.
Okay, well then I guess we'll see. I mean, I hope he shows up because I don't want to have to find someone last minute.
I mean, I think he'll do the draft. Like what he'll do is he'll text you like 20 minutes before. He'll be like, "Yo, Dan Lee, I got stuck at work, but I'm gonna get on my phone and we'll do it up, and it's cool. I'll draft that way." Just like he did the year before, like last year. Isn't that what happened last year? Oh, yeah, bro, I'll be at the draft.
That is what happened last year. I don't even know what his excuse was last year.
So, I mean, it's all good. We love Vaughn, but, when it comes to being reliable, you ever see that shit where it's like those memes, it's like you have a gun pointed to your head and if you have to call one person that
So you're saying Vaughn wouldn't be one of the people you call?
No, not that I call, because I think if you call Vaughn, he might answer. But if it was changed, like if it was like you had a gun to your head and you had to make plans with somebody, and if they followed through with it, you die. I'm hitting up Vaughn. I'd be like, "Yo, let's make plans," because I know he's never following through with it.
So are you saying out of all your friends, currently, he is probably like the most unreliable one?
When it comes to in-person engagements, yes.
I mean, he's a busy guy.
He is a busy guy, and I understand that. My thing is, if it's Vaughn, like, don't even say you're available. Like, "Oh yeah, bro, I'll be there." Or don't even say it. It's not necessary. We know you're busy, so at the end of the day, just be like, "Yeah, bro, can't make it." I will say he's getting better at that. He's definitely getting better at we'll be like, "Yo, you available this time or whatever?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'll be working like late and all this shit." All right, cool. Like, that's all you got to say. But don't be like, "Yeah, bro, I'll be available tomorrow. I'll see you then." And then, like, you hit him up and he's like, "Oh, I can't do it." Like that.
Well, if you change your mind about this bet, I'm willing to take the bet that he will show up to the draft.
You hear that?
He might be late. He might be the last one there. But I think he will show up. He seems like he's excited about this coming football season, so we'll see.
He got a lot of faith. I like it. I'm a fan, so... one of the things, too, is, before this is over, our boy's back. Sherman Johnson back in the building. So
Sherm Sticky.
That's a guy we have to get on the podcast. Hopefully we get him on soon, actually, because I know he's a big fan. And he talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, this might be a two-parter also. Just like Dustin, just like Phil. I'm starting to notice that a lot of our guests that we have on here, they like to talk. They like to talk shit most of the time.
Well, Sherman keeps saying, "I'm going to tell the truth."
I don't know what that means either.
I don't know what that means either. He seems to want to tell the truth, but we don't know what that means. So, Sherman, you're welcome to come on and tell all the truth you want, my friend. I think he's saying he knows things apparently about your poker game that apparently nobody else does, because he says he has big secrets about your game.
And that's fine. Let him tell the lies to the world. If the people want to hear lies, then tune in for that episode with Sherman Johnson. But anything you need to know about my poker game, just leave in the comments below. I'm a rock.
I mean, I guess we'll have Sherman Johnson come and tell the truth, because I feel like there might be some inconsistencies there. That's for sure.
I mean, he's just upset that I hold over him, and that lifetime I'm probably up close to 30,000. So I hope he's listening to this, and I hope the truth comes out next time when we have him on the show, because I'm very intrigued on what he has to say, as I'm sure you are as well. He'll be picking on your game as well.
Okay, but the thing is I know Sherman likes to pick on both our games, actually. But I feel like he does it almost in envy. He's almost like, wow, these guys play so good that I have to just talk shit. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I don't know. I mean, I would say lifetime versus Sherman, I'm probably a small winner. Lifetime versus him, he's gotten pretty lucky on me in a few pots I've noticed in life. I think he got me the Queen 4 one time for a pretty big pot.
Queen Deuce,
whatever. And
I remember that hand too.
But I think lifetime, I'm probably a small winner against him. Now, I will take the under, you're up 30,000 lifetime.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but, somewhere in that 5-figure area. I mean, I'm sure you noticed this as well. When it comes to you, Dustin, and I, Sherman plays back at us more than he does at just like a regular player. He is someone that ego clearly stands in the way between him and winning at poker.
Ego is definitely not Sherman's friend. He's got a lot of it. So
yeah, but we'll let him tell you how he feels about our game and his the next time when he's a guest.
Yeah, I agree. So it's good to have Sherman back in the room playing. It's good to see Andrew play. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, my boy Andrew's just been busy with work. Good. I actually hit him up the other day because the podcast, we need more followers. Andrew's a good friend of mine, so I'm just, telling him to put a shout out to him and everybody else. Follow us on all the social media platforms, and it's good to see him. One of my good friends, one of my very true close friends in the poker world. I don't really have many, you guys obviously, and Andrew, because I remember playing with Andrew when he was just 18 and he didn't really know any better. He didn't really know what gambling was, and he enjoyed it, as most people do when they first win. But it was good to see him, just a busy guy. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing right now.
He says I was talking to him. I was asking him if he was still with his girl, and he was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I'm like, it's getting serious. You gonna ask him to marry her?" He's like, "I hope." I mean, I don't know.
Wow, I must have missed this conversation.
You did. It was over by the bar. Me and Dustin were talking to him. Dustin's straight up said, "Don't do it, bro." So I don't know. We'll see.
I would like to say something about Dustin's marriage, but I feel like that's something better for another time. I think you know what I'm talking about.
No, I do.
We don't need to get into that.
I don't know what you're talking about. Can you elaborate?
Anyway, thanks for listening to the Silk Sesh podcast with Jordan and I. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and also follow us on Instagram, all under Silk Sesh Podcast. For Daniel Lee, or for Jordan, this is Daniel.
Don't
you got something else to say?
Don't forget to check in on Monday, August 12th, the 10K. Live updates, interviews, and there'll be a podcast that we'll do from the Silks. So if you follow us on any of our social media, make sure to like our shit, share it.
And if you're in the area, come and play the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show some support to the Silks Poker Room.
10K buy or 10K guarantee. 10K buy would be sick.
And the main event.
And have some fun. So until next time, absolutely, Dan Lee, Pleasure. Next time hopefully we'll get that guest back again.
Yes, and I hope they're not mad at us.
We apologize. But until next week, actually until Monday, stay tuned and take it easy.
Peace.
Hey everyone, appreciate you listening to the podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe this video here. If you have any comments, feel free to comment below. We'll take a look. Also follow us on all social media platforms at Silk Sesh Podcast on IG, Twitter, Facebook. And make sure you make it out to the 10K Guaranteed August 12th. Come out and have some fun and support your boys. Peace.